So you remember that time about 8 minutes ago I said this?
Hopefully this all works out. I think this was a great setup. And I think maybe my best setup yet.
Yeah, well, then I got to thinking, I got my big tractor ready and it's got a blade on the back and the front. And I thought, well, why can't I do that with the little tractor? Well, so of course I can't leave well enough alone. I find myself a great big heavy duty, I guess I should say, blade on Marketplace. I want to put that on the front and I want to put the other one on the back. So I spent most of the day yesterday getting out pretty much everything I own, scrap metal here and there and all kinds of different things before I abandon the whole operation and think, maybe I'm not going to do this. But then I remembered this. All right. Oh, it's got the back pan with a hitch. And yeah, I went in the back shed over there and found it, and now here it is. So I have a new plan. 1973 MTD 960. This one's branded a Viking by Eaton's of Canada. Mine came with a moor deck and a somewhat rare 3-point hitch option. Then one day I decided to see if I could plow snow with it. So I removed the moor deck and added the front plow I found on Marketplace. Even made a YouTube video about it. But then a much bigger idea happened. 2 blades. Can it be done? I don't know. Let's try. Off came my previously completed blade, and I started with a clean slate. Basic lift linkage operates via a control lever that rotates about a pivot point firmly attached to the right side frame rail of the tractor. You can raise or lower the moor deck linkage by moving the handle forward or back. After pressing the release button. For reasons I'll explain shortly, I can only get 1.5 inches of lift at the deck linkage for this build. Here's the 3-point linkage and lower arms that came as an option on this tractor. Pivot points are placed at the rear of each side of the tractor frame. I've added a Class 0 top link to complete the 3-point system. Now an attachment will raise and lower without rolling forward or back. With the blade attached to the vertical mounting plate, it can now be raised and lowered with the handle. This should work out just fine. Now I want to add the front plow. It mounts to the rear hitch with a pin and to the lift linkage of the moor deck and will operate like this. But I'll only get 2.5 inches of blade lift since I'm restricted to 1.5 inches of lift at the deck mount. I did the math. Since I only have one lever operating both blades, well, that's a problem for 2 reasons. 1, there's no reason to have both blades on the ground at the same time. And 2, the combined weight of both blades is too much for the locking pin to handle. I'm pretty sure it would break. So I have to be able to mechanically hang the rear blade when using the front blade only. I added a brace to the rear hitch that I can slide into place as required. But I can still use the front blade with the lever. So I added a hook at the front of the frame to hang the blade on. Now I can operate the rear blade and not be affected by the front blade. But I discovered I had to swap out the moor deck link with the length of chain. So how can the rear blade be braced or the front blade be hooked and still allow each other to be operated with just one handle? The linkage to the rear 3-point assembly incorporates a slot where it attaches to the handle. This is with the back blade braced and the front blade raised. This is with the back blade braced and the front blade down. And this is with the front blade hooked and the back blade raised. This is with the front blade hooked and the back blade down. You'll see the chain just goes slack. It's critical that the blades be mounted just right so that they will each clear the ground while the other is braced. The limiting factor is the length of the slot in the 3-point linkage. Since I refuse to permanently modify this nicely restored tractor in any way, I'm limited to pulling the handle only halfway before the blades start acting on one another. This means I could only get a gap of about 3.5 inches on the rear blade and 2.5 inches on the front blade. Now, on that parts tractor, this would have set up in there against the tractor, all right, like that. And this would have been a trailer hitch for a ball. Now someone then has welded on a receiver for a 2-inch ball hitch, which is perfect because that's what I'm going to use to run an extension out to attach to the blade. But I laid it, I'm not attaching it to the tractor because I want to keep my 3-point hitch set up that it already has. So I want to use the 3-point hitch and the drawbar, but then I thought, what if I did this? What if I turned it over and attached it this way? All right, bolt it down. I don't have any holes in it yet, but I'll bolt it on there. I'll run a top link, and the receiver now will be higher to go up over the blade. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll put it on upside down and everything will work out perfect, I'm sure. I don't even know how I can make such a gigantic mess doing one tiny little project. I'm tripping over all kinds of things. I got every tool out that I own, pretty much. My bench isn't even clean. It's always a disaster. All of this stuff, everything is out just for that. just to make one back plow or rear plow or rear dragging plow for the MTD. All right, I'm going to clean this up and finish the project. I got to get this front one going too. Things to do, and then I'll explain what happened here, like what this is all about and why it's so complicated for such a simple, what should be a simple hookup. I made about as complicated as you can make. All right, be right back. All right, this is the time of year, folks, that Canadians start to panic. Yeah, that's ice on the deck, and that's frost. So I have to get this, I got to get this project done. I've got the back blade done, pretty much done. I just have to make a brace to hold it up in place when not in use. And so this one's just resting against the plate there. I got to get the torch rocking. This thing is way too heavy, this plow I found on Marketplace. This little bracket for the original blade, which is now on the back, is pretty light duty for this big plow. So I want to torch off all this angle iron and most of these braces just to lighten it up. I've already torched off a ton of brackets and things off this thing, lightened it up quite a bit. At least now I can pick it up by myself. But more has to go. For its purpose out in that driveway, it doesn't have to be this major piece of equipment. I was thinking of just mounting it solid, but I don't know. I think I might want it to kick forward if I hit something. Around here, probably not going to hit anything, but like that, an edge of a, you know, a seam in the concrete or something. But just in case, I'm going to run springs to it. I'll just weld on little tabs, or probably just a nut, just weld it onto the blade, and it'll still be able to tip. And then I'll go over this Frankenstein setup. Woo. Holy, what was I thinking here? This thing weighs a ton, which is good when it's up in the air. It'll add lots of weight to the rear end when I'm plowing. And it comes off with just 2 pins. Just pull the top pin there for the steering, or for the angle, and the trailer hitch pin there, pull that, and the whole thing comes off as one assembly. Okay, it's been snowing for hours and hours. I'm not sure if the camera will pick that up or not, but it really hasn't dropped a ton in the driveway. But I gotta get out and try this tractor system I built, this front and rear blade system. So it's still blizzarding. I don't want to wait any longer though. Well, yeah, we have enough to plow. All right, get the lights on in here and see what I got going on. There it is. So you saw my little presentation, my little artistic rendition of how this whole plow system works. Front plow and rear plow. So I'm gonna have to get it out of here. I want to try working this year with no chains. I just want to use these narrow agricultural tires, and obviously I didn't have time to paint the rims I bought for them. not bad for a first try. All right, mathematically I fit through here, but practically it's not really a good fit. I'll have to push the car over a little bit more. Anyway, I think it did a fantastic job. It struggled in that deep stuff, but this is very heavy out in the front. It wasn't too bad back here, but when I got out to this stuff scraping the driveway bare, it was really getting kind of slushy. Oops. I don't really know why I go through lenses. That one's all cracked, but it still works just fine. All right, so before this camera goes dead, we'll see if we can get a little light on the subject and show you. There's my little hanger system for the front blade. So I lift up the whole blade by hand, and this notch will just slide in underneath the framework there and hold the blade up. And then when I want to disconnect it, I just lift this up again and just with my foot under there, kick it out. And then it just sits like that. All right, so let's see if you can, I don't know, kind of make out how this chain works. Just hook the frame, lift the blade, and that little cam, we'll call it, will fall into its notch and hold it up. And there it is. And on the back one, oh, I already took it off, but you can see my little red beam that I've bent and dropped into place there. So I lift the back up by hand and just slide that piece of steel in underneath, and it's bolted down to the bottom there. Well, not bolted, it's got a pin, and it holds the back blade up. So when I'm using the lever, whether I'm doing the front or back, it's only one blade at a time, front or back, because I think working them both, well, working them both would be pointless. How would you even do it? Okay. Maybe you can see the little notch here falls into place. So that wire is what I'm pulling up on the dash, and then it just spring loads back into its spot there. And I didn't even have to mar up the dash at all. So the little cable comes through here, just the bottom slot of the throttle there. So it doesn't hurt anything. I have like a little felt washer under that so it won't scratch it. And then this rubber switch is the tilt, or the actuator down there that tilts it. And there was already a hole in the dash, and I've got rubber washers in there too. I was a little like, why is the hole not the same size as everything else? It's supposed to be small, so these just screw in. Well, it turns out this was a hole for a cigarette lighter from the factory. So no lighter on this one, so I just washered it up until it fits, and that's how that works. Pretty clean. I think that's a pretty clean setup. Doesn't hurt the tractor at all. I didn't drill any holes. I didn't mark anything up. Everything is just using what the tractor had from the factory. Nice. There's the actuator I was talking about down there that tilts the blade. All right, so there's my snow beast that I built. Got to get those chains on the back. So I'll tighten up a few bolts, run it again, get it so this front blade goes a little lower, or at least has some weight on it when it's down. But the back blade worked fabulous. It really cuts in and spills it right off to the side. I was just going to do the whole place with the back blade and then just finish up at the front. But yeah, I was having some difficulty there when the snow got super deep. That blade would cup in underneath there and just tires would start spinning. So I thought, well, I'll just take off the top with the front blade, give it a bit of a haircut and then clean it up with the back blade. But that's when I noticed the back blade was falling off onto the ground. So got to fix that one up. We'll try it again another time. Maybe get into some deeper snow, hopefully not heavier snow. That wasn't a lot of snow, but it was heavy. So hopefully we'll get some nice fluffy deep snow next time and get this thing rocking. See how she works out. Right, as you can see, it went ahead and snowed overnight again. So, oh God, there's a big drift right here. Otherwise, it's a beautiful looking day out. It's just, I just got to plow it again. I want to do a couple things to this. I got to fix a few things before I go. I think I might grab the chains. There they are. All right, well, there's chains on there. You're just gonna have to believe me.
All right, this is a day you wouldn't want to snow blow on. It's windy as heck, and the snow would just blow up in the air and all in your face and everything. This is a plow day, and that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so in summary, it worked out pretty good. It's certainly not that tractor way over yonder. If I get into like a pretty major problem, if the snow just gets too deep, I'll either get that tractor fired up or I'll just bring out the snowblower. I mean, I can get some exercise with that thing. I got it all working and everything, so might as well use it. I like it. I like it a lot, so how about a thumbs up from Ontario Tube? Until next time, cheers.